This is a Cincy fan talking with LP. You can catch me on Twitter. That's a Cincy fan talking. You say it like it sounds, just leave off the G. If you have ideas for the show, you can reach me at Cincy_fan talk at yahoo.com. If you have any suggestions for the show, make sure you leave them there. Who knows, you might find yourself as part of the show. Any feedback would be definitely appreciated. And also, make sure you hit the Linktree page that's on my Twitter. Make sure you click on that. You can find all the different ways to contact me there. Enjoy the show. What's up? What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Humble Pod. Welcome back to a Cincy fan talking with LP, and of course, this is LP. Appreciate you stopping past and checking me out. Listen to what I got to say. Goofy, funny, deep, whatever. Happy out just riding with the boy. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure you check out any past episodes, catch up on what you missed, and stick and stay while we chatted up about some things. We're gonna get into the Olympics. All right, the Olympics just ended. I feel like I learned a lot about watching the Olympics. Some weird stuff kind of happened, some crazy stuff, some motivational stuff. Um, I thought it was a pretty good Olympic experience. It was crazy different. I feel like a lot of Olympic experiences will be like this going in. So I feel like the first thing I learned is that NBC definitely trying to get this money. Like they realize trying to get this cake out here. Why was it so hard to find stuff you wanted to watch? I mean, it's been like that for a while. You know, NBC got a gaggle of different channels and stations. You know, you got CNBC, you got USA, you got the Golf Channel. It's just so many different arenas to watch. You got to get your listing guide out for real. And then they whipped out the NBC Sports app and they whipped out Peacock and they put all the dope stuff on there. Like, and I get there was like a time differential that you had to battle. You know, you popping up at 4 a.m. to watch some stuff that's going on at 5 p.m. over in Japan. And I get that. But just because it's coming on super duper early, that doesn't mean you can't move it to the main stations. I mean, somebody like me, because I'm a TV fiend, I'm a TV maniac. I pretty much got everything except Peacock. So I'm a weirdo. We got cable, and with the cable, they pretty much give you subscriptions to all of the apps you want for free. So the NBC Sports app, that stuff is free because you're already paying for cable. That's one of the few advantages of having a cable subscription. You know, we get the HBO Max for, let's air quote this, for air quote free. You feel me? Because we paying for the cable subscription, so you get the HBO Max for free. And it's like that with all of these apps. So it was pretty easy for us to watch a lot of the stuff. I refuse to pay for Peacock. Like I'm not. Once I found out that they were putting The Office on Peacock and then giving you the first two seasons for free, then you gotta subscribe to the premium for the rest. I'm like, nah, miss me with that. Like I'm not feeling the hustle. And I guess NBC wants people to, get on that app because anything that was dope that you wanted to watch was on Peacock. You trying to watch the women's gymnastics, you trying to watch basketball, you trying to watch soccer, the stuff you want to see in the Olympics, it's on Peacock until they get to the gold medal game. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Miss me with that. You're not about to rope me in just so I can watch that. And then I'm looking like, why I got Peacock? What's the point of this? Now you got to come better, NBC. So they definitely about that paper. I don't know if the ratings gonna look the way they normally look, but you can't really look at stuff like that anymore. You can't look at the Olympic ratings and go like, "Oh, dang, this was trash," and nobody liked the Olympics because it's different now. There's so many different ways to watch the Olympics that the ratings are almost moot. I mean, nobody's sitting down and watching the opening ceremony of the Olympics at 8 p.m. when you pretty much already seen it. Like you're not doing that. But there's so many different avenues to watch stuff. I mean, they got to come up with different ways to do this whole ratings thing, I think. So I definitely learned that NBC was about that money. I also learned that I will pretty much watch anything. Like real talk. I will watch anything that's a sport. I truly believe that in my heart now. And the Olympics is showing me this. I'm watching rowing and not just the gold medal match. I'm watching rowing, the preliminary heats. The US is nowhere in it. And I'm looking interested, like, dang, maybe I should row. Like this dope. Look at that. They getting the upper body worked out. Like, I should be a rower. Like they really have you like that. I'm watching steeplechase, equestrian, like it's crazy. But it's the Olympics, so you end up watching all types of crazy stuff. Um, really got into the archery, man. I'm like, I'm learning the game. Like, I'm watching handball in the house. Like who the hell watching handball, man? Like, like who really spending their day watching handball? Me, because it's the Olympics. So you get to learn a lot about different sports that you would never watch. I can't see me searching ESPN for the next handball tournament. I can't see that. But during the Olympics, you get to watch a whole lot of new stuff that you never really gave a thought about because people trying to win medals. They trying to get those dubs, which is cool. It was kind of sort of strange to be trying to figure out how fencing works. I'm like, she just poked her with the stick. She don't get the point. No, because I'm like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Who winning? Like, just keep it glued. It was strange, but that's something else I learned. And man, NBC will milk a story, won't they? I mean, we heard about Allison Felix's kid. I know she tired. I know she like, would y'all get that camera out my baby face? Like, I mean, every time I saw Allison Felix, I was like, where her daughter at? Because I knew they was about to show a picture of her. It was crazy. I'm like, they will milk the mess out of a story to get you to watch. Like, yeah, I'm like, can we get different angles? Because I know Allison Felix, like, she's sick of y'all sticking the camera in her kid's face every time she run, and she got to be gracious about it. But I know her people is like, dude, like, can we tired of this? Can you give it a rest? Like, like chill out. But I guess that's the Olympic experience too. You gotta see the whole journeys of the Olympians and all of that because you gotta have that connection in order to watch. And I'm sure the powers that be kind of feel like that. Let's get them glued by telling them their whole backstory, and after that they'll care a little bit more, which is understandable. But they gotta understand at some point y'all overdosing it. And once Suni Lee start blowing up a little bit, they start blowing her story up and all of that. I know they be like, man, I'm tired of seeing myself. Like, like can y'all come a little bit different? Can y'all get somebody else? It's a whole lot of Olympians out here with a whole lot of different stories. We don't need the same three or four, and I'm sure they feel like that. But like I said, that's the whole Olympic stuff. But I think the one thing that I learned about the Olympics more than all of that stuff. And after seeing everything, I feel like this is the real deal. Uh, America really feels like they should win everything. Like they really do feel like that. Like here in America, we're supposed to win every single medal. We're supposed to get gold in every single thing. And if we don't, it's a failure. And I never understood that. Ever. There's so many people that try to be Olympians. And out of all of those people, you only have a few that even qualify to make it to the Olympics. Winning a medal in the Olympics, that's an amazing thing. And you'll see some of the athletes saying, I won a silver and I feel like I let everybody down. We won a bronze and we feel like we let our whole country down. And I'm looking like, you got people in these other countries that went to the Olympics and the country has never won a medal ever. Or maybe they won a medal, a silver or a bronze. And that's it. You have Olympians in our country that have traveled to the Olympics 3 or 4 times and never won a medal. Like they never got one. So to hear people say that, I don't see that as an indictment on them. I see it more as an indictment on us, on our culture, that we send Olympians over and we automatically think, yeah, it's a dub, it's a gold because we America. And it just doesn't work that way. You have so many tremendous athletes in all of these other countries and they're shooting for the same goals that our Olympians are going for. So I just don't understand why we just feel like it's automatic. And I guess that's the American way. I guess that's just kind of how we do. But shout out to all of those Olympians that put their mental health first because that was really dope to see. Seeing them put their mental health first, and you want to win. Athletes don't go somewhere going like, you know, I'm just gonna go out here and if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. They don't do that, especially once you get to this elite of a level. They feel like they're going to put their best foot forward and they expect to win and they definitely expect to try their best. So to see somebody like a Simone Biles or Michael Phelps promote mental health first, I thought that was absolutely amazing because once the cameras go off and once everybody gets tired of the Olympic story for 3.5 years, it's just them. It's just them and their families and their thoughts and their feelings. So you don't want to wait until the Olympics are over to promote that in yourself first. You want to do that as soon as possible because you don't want to get to a place where you put everything out on the line for people that really just don't give a damn. They don't even understand the sport. They don't know what it takes to do what you do. I mean, kind of put it in this perspective. In '96, Carrie Strug did the vault her around the world, on the busted ankle, and that was considered heroic. Like it was considered an amazing thing. She put her quote unquote country first. Everybody give her props for that. Move up to now, and Simone Biles seemingly decided to put herself first. But what she really did was she put herself and her teammates first because she's like, I'm just going to hinder my teammates if I don't get this done correctly. So I'm going to move aside and let them do it while I get myself together. And what people don't realize is she helped everybody when she did that. She didn't just help herself, which is what she needed to do. Sometimes you're helping by getting out of the way. You're like, I can't do this to my best abilities. So what I'm gonna do is step aside and let my girls do it because I have faith in them. It's not just me, it's us. It's all of us. And if we can all get it done, I'll move to the side and I'm confident that they can do as good a job as I could. I feel like that's unselfish. And I feel like those are the qualities I would want in a teammate. And you got these other talking heads saying, She let her country down. She let her teammates down. She's the best gymnast in the world, yada, yada, yada. Knowing your limitations is something that a lot of people don't understand is very important. You have to know what you can do and you have to know what you can't do. Because if you don't know what you can't do, you're going to think you can do everything. Nobody can do everything. Like nobody's that accomplished where they can do every single thing. And she felt that she couldn't fight through that at that time. That's brilliance. That's respect. That's unselfish. That is putting the team first. And I feel like in these Olympics, what I learned is we have athletes doing that now. They're looking out for themselves and they're about looking out for the team. What we have to understand is that we have to respect athletes' choices. Simple as that. Because they're out there performing for us per se, but they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it so they can look in the mirror and feel like they did great at what they could do. We're really not in a position to judge people. I mean, it's okay to critique people. Like it's okay to say, hey, you know, maybe things would have happened differently if you did this. Maybe things would have happened differently if the team could do that. But we're not in a place to judge anybody and say, hey, you should have done this because I would have did this. You sure about that? Like, wouldn't you be out there doing it? There are very few people that can do the things that these athletes are doing. So to see them do it on an Olympic stage and do as great as they did, even if they didn't win a medal, like even the eighth place finisher in a 100-meter dash is faster than about 99% of the world. So just getting to that stage was a great moment, and getting the medal was the icing on the cake. I say. So I mean, shout out to everybody that did it, and shout out to a lot of fans for respecting it. I mean, I can't really say that I saw a lot of people just going hard on Simone Biles or anything like that. Like it was a lot of love out there. It was a lot of people saying, you did what you had to do, respect your decision. So it was one of those few times where you could look at Twitter and see support because that's not something you see a whole lot. So I thought that was dope. Um, Not really gonna watch the Winter Olympics. Yeah, that's not my thing. I don't know. It's just a whole lot of sports. I'm looking like I don't even know how that work. They just don't catch my attention like that. Maybe I catch the bobsled. Give a couple cool runnings jokes in there. Um, I don't know. Catch some hockey, but for the most part, the Winter Olympics that looks too cold for me. I can't deal with that. Hey, you got a Cincy fan talking with LP. Be right back.
Hi, hi. I'm Princess and I'm Queen. This is Daddy.
You have to say, and this is a Cincy fan talking with LP.
And this is a sensitive friend talking with LP Daddy.
Nice job.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, 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 welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the pod. Shout out to the locks, man. Like real life shout out to the locks. If you missed it, the locks and Dipset, Cameron, Joel Santana, Jim Jones. They had a versus last week. Me personally, I knew exactly what was gonna happen. I knew it. I predicted it. A lot of people thought it would be a fair, close battle between two dope rap groups. Like a lot of people thought that. Definitely no disrespect to Dipset at all. None. Because they are two real dope rap groups. They really are. But me personally, I knew it was a rap as soon as I saw the announcement. So many people sleep on how good of a group the Locks is. So many people do. And I never understood that. even way back in the day when they first came out, I knew how talented they were. They weren't really on a label that could let them shine like that. But even on Bad Boy, you could just hear their lyrics and know like this is a super good group. And as a hip hop historian, me myself, because that's what I do. Like I love hip hop. I, I watch everything that goes on to it. Even now, with the new folks out or whatever, the Locks, they're one of those groups. They're great because of their rap style. You got Jada Kiss. He's, I guess you would call him a front man of the group or whatever. But their style is so intricate. The way they flow off of each other, how they finish each other's sentences and go off to the next one. There are very few rap groups that do that because it's very difficult to do. How you'll have one rapper start a bar and then you'll have somebody else finish that bar and then start their bar. Like they're literally talking while finishing each other's sentences. The only groups I've heard do that ever, Run DMC, Outkast did it a little bit. There are very few rap groups that can rap like that effectively because in order to do it, you literally have to write your verses together. You have to write the whole song together and understand the cadences of the rappers. And when one rapper finishes and the other rapper starts, there's no verse in between. Like there's no verse and then a hook and then you go and then the verse and then you go. It's all three rapping together as if it's a cipher. You have to be talented to do that. You have to be talented to do that. And that's why they knew all of their lyrics because in order to rap like that, you got to know what somebody else is about to say. You have to know it. So this is stuff you're going to remember for a very long time. So I wasn't really surprised that the Locks was pretty flawless. And then their catalog is absolutely ridiculous. Like it really is. You got songs with Big, you got all of their songs. You got songs with Lil Kim, you got songs with DMX, you got songs with Eve, you got songs with Mary J. Blige. You got songs with Jennifer. I mean, you got songs with Mariah Carey, man. Like it's their their catalog is so extensive, and a lot of people forget that. Kind of because of how they look, they look real grimy and they look real street. But them, um, Notorious B.I.G., rappers like that, they found a way to cross over and still remain who they are. They didn't have to conform and change who they were in order to cross over. They were like, look, we're going to be us, and you're going to feel what we're doing so much that you're going to come to us. We ain't changing nothing. Like, we're going to do what we do. And if you like it, cool, put us on the record. And if you don't, cool, we'll be over here on our side getting money. And even if we don't get money, we still doing what we want to do anyway. So we still winning. That's basically the Locks credo. And it worked. It worked for a very long time. And then you got somebody like Jada Kiss. Like Sheik is already a dope lyricist. And then you got Styles who's a dope lyricist. And then you have Jada Kiss, who is a great lyricist, and everybody knows their role. You got Jada talking a lot because he's the front man. That's what he does. Everybody knows their role and they slot in their role perfectly. And it just works for verses so well. So Dipset was at a disadvantage from the beginning because they're more of a collection of three individuals that came together to make up a group, and that worked too. But it just doesn't work the way the Locks does. So shout out to both of them because I mean, people are gonna say there's a winner and there's a loser, but I mean, we all won. I mean, Dipset was doing some stuff that we wanted to see. You know what I mean? The Locks did some stuff that we wanted to see, and there's really no winner or loser in the verses because they call it verses to hook you in, but you get to hear about 40 to 50 songs that you wanted to hear. So, I mean, the Locks quote unquote won, but we all won. And plus, if they really go on tour, that's a huge win for everybody. So Big shout out to Versus for doing what they did. It was great. I sat there and watched the whole thing. Like it was awesome for real. Um, we got football coming up. Um, you'll hear the Bengals preview in a little while. You'll hear that in the upcoming weeks. Um, if you know anybody or if you're a person that's jumping into fantasy football and you're kind of like, I don't really know what to do. Maybe you took a long break from fantasy and you're just getting back into it, or maybe this will be your first time playing fantasy football. This will be for you. All right. I'm talking to all my novices out there. So if you're like a fantasy guru, you can just kind of hit me up and let me know if I forgot something. All right. But I got 7 tips for y'all beginners out there. I got 7 of them. Kind of came up with these myself, from playing fantasy football for so long. So, 7 tips that help me out a lot in order to get dubs. All right. Tip number 1, know the scoring system before you draft. All right. So, before you even begin to draft your players, you need to know what you get points for. Okay. And I'm not going to make this super duper technical. All right. I'm not gonna bore you with the particulars. I'll just basically say this. Usually, you get a certain amount of points for a touchdown. You get a certain amount of points for yards, things like that. And then the defense will get you points for touchdowns, and then you'll get points for interceptions, sacks, things like that. You need to go into the settings and see exactly what you get points for, because you could be in a league where somebody gets points just for catching a pass or just for throwing a touch or just for completing the pass. And if this happens, you'll have some players that give you even more value than others. For instance, if you're in a league where somebody gets points for catching a pass, running backs become super duper popular, especially the ones that can catch and run. So it's your job to go into the settings and see what gets you points for what. That's going to guide how you draft. All right. That's step 1. Step 2, it's about getting the dub. It's not about drafting your favorite players. I want to draft all Bengals. Like I really do. Every year I go like, I want this Bengal, I want this Bengal, I want this Bengal. But if I'm being realistic, there are some players that play on other teams that would do a whole lot better. So I'm not going to draft all Bengals. I might try to grab 1 or 2, but I'm going to stock my team up with people who are going to give me the most points. That's going to be your job every week. All right. So don't try to grab your favorite players because your favorite player might not be the best fantasy player. Fantasy football and real football, 2 different animals. Tip number 3, do not let the computer draft for you. Under no circumstances do you let the computer do your draft. Normally, there'll be an announcement that comes out that tells you when your draft is going to be. Put that announcement in your phone. Make sure you are in the draft room when it starts, and you want to draft all of your players. The worst thing you can do is let the computer draft for you, because normally what happens is you'll end up with about 3 tight ends, 2 kickers, 3 defenses, and then you have to go in and you have to fix all of that. And it's going to be really, really tough for you to do that. So you want to make sure you are in the draft room to draft. That's key. That's probably one of the most important things. But if you can't get to the draft, like if you know you cannot get to the draft and you have to let the computer do it, what you want to do is go into the ranking things and fix your rankings so at least the computer knows who to draft. Okay? That's what you want to do. Go into your settings, line up the draft for yourself so the computer knows who to take and more importantly, knows who to not take. So that will be my tip, because some people get busy. Sometimes the commissioner of the league might set the draft at a ridiculous time, and there's nothing you can do about that. So if you have to let the computer draft for you, Fix it up so the computer drafts who you want to draft. Tip number 4. This tip will take about 10-15 minutes. Go on your phone on Sunday morning. Go on your phone or turn on ESPN or something like that and just watch the football updates for about 10-15 minutes. This way, you know who's playing and you know who's not playing. The worst thing you want to do is have people on your team that aren't playing games because they will get you 0 points. I tell you what, it's so great to play against a team that doesn't put in people that are playing in their lineup. It's absolutely awesome. It's like the easiest win ever. On the flip side, nothing hurts my heart more in fantasy than going into my team and noticing that I forgot that two people weren't playing. Watch the update so you can see if somebody gets pulled or something like that and they're not playing. And then switch your lineups. Um, Tip number 5. After the draft or at any point during the year, make sure that you're getting players from the waiver wire that can help you. You usually don't win. You usually do not win your league without a draft. You'll win your league because you'll see a player that's really, really good and you'll pick that player up. And you'll see a player that's really, really bad and you'll drop that player. That's how you win the league. So do yourself a favor. Every week, just go through the waiver wire. That's the place where you can pick up any player that you want and then drop another player. Go through there and just find players that are doing really, really well. Pick them up. You do not have to keep all of the players that you drafted. On average, I would say that I end up with about 4 players that I drafted on my team the entire year. 4. I'm picking up people, I'm dropping people because people get hurt. People just don't perform the way that they're supposed to perform. And it happens. You have to be willing to drop a player and pick up another one. It's not personal, it's just business. Speaking of that, injuries and bye weeks, watch them closely. If somebody's injured on your team and they're not playing anymore, drop them. Pick up somebody else. If there's somebody that's on a bye week on your team, like they're not playing that week, put them on the bench. Put somebody in that's playing. I will say that's probably the second most important tip. If there's somebody not playing on your team, they should not be starting on your roster. That's just simple and plain. So if they're hurt, you gotta drop them. If they're on a bye week, you gotta move them to the bench. Which brings us to our last thing. If you're losing early, do not panic. I've had players in my league that would be like, okay, we're 1-3, so I'm dropping almost everybody on my team, and I'm picking up a whole lot of other people. Don't do that. That would not be a good thing to do. Sometimes teams start slow. Sometimes players start slow. So you might have somebody that you drafted first, and you expect them to be the best player on your team, but for some reason they're just not doing well. I don't know. Maybe they got hurt for a week and they didn't play. Then they came back and then they just didn't play well for the next 2 weeks. Don't panic. All right. It's a long season. Usually it's about 16 weeks. Well, this year's going to be 17 weeks. So, and usually they don't play on that last week. So it's about 15 weeks. So this year it'll be 16 weeks. So just consider it a long grind. All right. I think last year I started 0-3 and ended up winning the league. Got a little bit of money for it too, which was cool. So don't panic. All right. It's a long season. You'll be okay. You just want to make sure, to kind of recap, you want to make sure you know how to get points. Don't worry about drafting your favorite players. Don't let the computer draft for you. And if they do draft for you, make sure the computer knows who to draft. Get in front of a TV or your phone on Sunday morning. Just spend 10, 15 minutes checking out who's playing. Don't let anybody play on the team. Don't let anybody in the starting lineup that's not actually playing. Watch that waiver wire. Pick up people that you that are doing well, and don't panic. Do not panic. You'll be okay if you lose a little bit. All right. So if you're a newbie out there jumping into fantasy, it's really not super hard. Um, it's not really a hard thing to do. I mean, people try to make it super complex and make it like, oh wow, it's all about numbers, blah blah blah. If somebody's doing well, just make sure they play, and if somebody's not doing well, make sure they don't play. And there are more intricacies to it. We'll jump into that throughout the year, but that's the main thing you want to do. You want people in the lineup that are going to produce. All right. So if you have a favorite player, like your one favorite player, and it's a really good player, pick them up. If you have a favorite player and they play like a weird position and they don't get a lot of points, don't pick them up. I mean, not to oversimplify it, but if you're a newbie, kind of start with that basis and you'll learn a lot more as things go on. If you got any tips for me, if there's something you think I forgot that a newbie should know, definitely hit me up. You can hit me up on the Anchor app, leave me a voice message. We'll 100% put it on the show for people to hear, because we appreciate the support. We appreciate you helping folks out. You can send me a tweet. Let me know how you feel about that. And hopefully we'll have a great year in fantasy. Hopefully I can help a whole lot of people out. But we're gonna go ahead and jump out of this for this week. You know what it is, you know where we be at. So until next week, life is good. Be easy. If you're not ready for the conversation to end, I'm not either. Make sure to catch me on Twitter. That's the Cincy Fan Talking. Leave off the G at the end of it, and we can keep the conversation going. Also, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button so you can catch the next episodes. The episodes will drop every Tuesday. If there's a change in that, I'll make sure to let you know. Appreciate the support. As always, life is good.